Good morning and welcome back to Bald Feather Bets, everyone. So we'll be laying on our pick for the first NFL game, Thursday Night Football tonight between the Eagles and the Cowboys. I can't wait. As much as I love college football and the pageantry and the passion and all that stuff, the skill level and the play calling level, design level, everything is just higher in the NFL. And the NFL is football, the game, displayed in its number one facet. I don't think anyone can really argue with that. I love college football. The NFL does not have the same passion, does not have the same pageantry, but the football that is being played is at a higher level in the NFL. And at the end of the day, that's what I really love about it. Also, going to talk a little bit about other bets we made for this upcoming week, things that we're looking at, and also going to talk about some stuff that I just want to make sure I want us to be smart football bettors on this channel. I want to make sure some things that people understand with regards to lines and how they're made, and some different conversations I've been seeing going back and forth this week on the online spaces that we need to address. But first, please make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's the only thing we ask here. Never charge anyone for these picks. Just give us that subscription. Doesn't cost you anything. Doesn't sign you up for anything you don't want. Just make sure your notifications are on so you know when we're posting videos. Sometimes we post very close up until kickoff, depending on how long we need to make a read. And we also post community posts on certain plays if it's not worth making a video for, and just make sure you have those notifications on. And then also share this video around, comment, just anything you can do to help us get in the YouTube algorithm and grow the channel. So first things first, some conversations I've been seeing going around online, and I'm genuinely asking this question. I'm not trying to be a smart ass or anything. I'm genuinely asking because I want to know what our audience thinks in terms of how they view these things. If every one of these games was replayed in week 2, who do you think would be favored neutral site? So Texas, Ohio State, who do you think would be favored neutral site week 2? Clemson, LSU, who do you think would be favored neutral site week 2? Miami, Notre Dame, who do you think would be favored neutral site week 2? And then Alabama, Florida State, who do you think would be favored neutral site week 2? And then to even take it further, and what do you guys think the lines would be about? What do you guys think? Comment, let me know. What do you think the lines would be about in those? And then had the Super Bowl this past year, we'll use the most recent NFL game as well, between the Chiefs and the Eagles, where the Eagles blew out the Chiefs. Had that game been replayed in the exact same setting, so neutral site, New Orleans. That's where the Super Bowl was, right? Had that game been played in New Orleans the very next week, who would have been favored in that game? And what do you think the spread would have been around, given that the Eagles blew the Chiefs out the way that they did? What do you guys think the spread would have been if it had been done 1 week later? And the reason I'm curious is because I know what the spread. I know who will be favored if they did these games neutral site. I have an idea of around within a half a point or so what the spread would be, and I understand why certain things are done. So in 2021, Georgia played Alabama in the SEC championship game. Georgia was favored by 3 or 3.5. The game was in Atlanta. Alabama won the game, obviously, with Bryce Young. Then they replayed in the national championship in Indianapolis 5-ish weeks later. And by kickoff, Georgia was favored by 3. So almost the exact same line that they had the first time. Now, John Mechie got hurt, so that factored into it. But there's a reason sportsbooks are pretty confident in the lines that they make. So just give me your thoughts, give me your comments. I'm genuinely curious what this channel thinks those spreads would be for those games, those week 1 college football games that happened if they were played the very next week on a neutral site. And I'm very genuinely curious what you guys think the Super Bowl spread would have been had the game been played again 1 week later. Okay, but enough of that. And from that, I'm going to expand on that thought after I get some of your guys' comments and explain some certain things as to how lines are made and why they're made and all that. But I just kind of want to see what the pulse of this channel is before I do that. So then tonight's game and then some other things that we're looking at. So we've already given out the pick for tonight's game. We took the Cowboys plus 7.5 for 2 units, and we did that before the Micah Parsons trade. So you can get that even at a better number now. You can get 8.5. Obviously, for our record-keeping purposes, since we gave it out officially at 7.5, that's how we'll judge a win-loss for us here on the channel. But hopefully, you can get 8.5. I love it. I love it. This is the largest, tied for the largest spread right now in week 1 between the Broncos and the Titans. This is one of the most intense rivalries in the NFL. It's a division game. It is a week 1 kickoff game between two pretty high profile teams. Whether you like Brian Schottenheimer or not, doesn't really matter. Whether you love the Eagles, you love Saquon, all that stuff doesn't really matter. The truth of the matter is, when Dak has been healthy, when CD has been healthy, the Cowboys have won 12 games almost every year. They've been a perennial contender for the division, and a perennial contender for the conference, even if they never make the NFC title game. That's another story, but it doesn't mean they're not a good football team. The other thing too is the Eagles have quietly lost a little bit of very important pieces from what made them such a dominant team last year, which was offensive line and defensive line. And we have questions with Landon Dickerson headed into this game as well. Hasn't really practiced all week. I do think he'll probably give it a go, but obviously he's not going to be 100%. Specifically to losing Micah, I think it became pretty apparent about a week ago that the Cowboys started to prepare to play this game without Micah. So you're going from, we're going to play it without Micah, to now we're going to play it with Kenny Clark. If you're going up against the Eagles, what do you guys think is a more impactful piece? An elite run-stopping defensive tackle or an elite pass rush? I know what I think. I would rather have an elite run-stopping defensive tackle, because an elite pass rusher doesn't do much for you against the Eagles the way that they run their system. Essentially everything based off a run, play action, rollouts, short throws, and then Jalen Hurts' legs too. This is just too many points for what this game is and who these two teams are coming in healthy week 1. It doesn't have anything to do with how I think the Cowboys season's going to go or how I think the Eagles season's going to go. This is just a single game in which we like the Cowboys. So what we're doing is we're leaving our 2-unit bet in at 7.5, and we are adding a unit at the 8.5 for a total of 3 units. If you guys hadn't put your bet in, grab all 3 units at 8.5. Obviously, don't be dumb. If you are so inclined that you have to bet the Eagles tonight, I would find a way to not lay the points. I would take the money line and parlay it with something that you love later in the week. That's a lot of points, man, for an opening night game. I don't care if it's banner night or not. That's a lot of points. So then what are some other things that we're looking at into this week? We gave you our first play of the college football week, which was Duke plus 3.5 against Illinois. We gave it for 1 unit. We're upping that to 2 units. You can still get the 3.5. So Duke plus 3.5 for 2 units against Illinois. Again, until the market recognizes that Illinois is not a good football team, you're going to see a theme of us fading Illinois. I don't know when that'll happen. Maybe Illinois beats Duke by 40 points, and so it doesn't happen this week. But we're going to continuously fade Illinois until they recognize that they're not a good team, because they're not. And then we're taking SMU plus the 3 against Baylor. We're also doing that for 3 points. 2 units. 3 points for 2 units. And we are taking Iowa plus the 3.5 for 2 units against Iowa State. So SMU Baylor. I simply think Baylor's a better team, so I think we got wrong team favored here. Yes, the game is at SMU, but I want to see how SMU performs. I saw how Baylor performed. They did very well against Auburn. They just got stopped in first and goal twice and lost the game by 2 possessions. I like Sawyer Robinson here a lot. I like this Baylor team. I like them to have a bounce back this week against SMU. Iowa State. This is a perennial we bet on the underdog in this game almost every single time, especially getting 3.5 points. This game gets decided by 3 to 4 points a lot. Iowa also has kind of dominated this matchup outside of last year, and they should have won last year. They just gave up some late possessions for touchdowns. We were very happy about that because we had Iowa State, but we are definitely on Iowa in this one. And then we're taking Kansas State minus the 17 against Army for 1 unit. Kansas State's just severely undervalued right now with losing the game at Iowa State and then not looking great against North Dakota last week. But you also need to factor in, these are college kids, these aren't professionals who've done this, and they traveled back from Europe. Didn't seem to impact Iowa State all that much, but I can imagine that impacted Kansas State some. That's tough on your body if you're not used to making that travel. Over 50% of the kids that played in that game didn't have a passport going up to that game, so clearly they weren't aware of that, of what that was going to do to their bodies. So we like Kansas State. We just think that they're undervalued. And then the only other pick we made so far for NFL on Sunday is the Giants plus the 7 against Washington. That's for 1 unit. Not getting anything crazy with it, but we like Russell Wilson in a spot where he's catching 7. You can kind of look at the history and the data. Most of his games, whether he wins or loses, are 1 possession games. We will be back at you again more tomorrow, obviously with our Chiefs and our Chargers pick. We get more NFL football tomorrow, yay. And then we'll be at you all weekend long, college football Saturday, NFL Sunday, Monday Night Football for NFL. But yeah, please, again, show the channel some love. Make sure you're subscribed, like, share, comment. Have a great day and enjoy your NFL kickoff festivities.